or even if you read one book a month, one book a year even, like you're still a reader, you're still reading, that's still amazing. Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. If you are new here, you should definitely subscribe to my cozy corner of the internet. We are gathered here today to be going over my 25 books that I want to read in 2025. These are going to be my non-negotiables. I have to read them. Hopefully. I got a TBR cart so I can literally put them in a separate area in my room so I physically see them and they kind of like can taunt me and hold me more accountable. So hopefully I have like no excuses. Also, yes, I am wearing green contacts. I am making use of my free will by sometimes randomly changing my eye color because it's just fun and I get bored. I have like brown / hazel eyes depending on the light that I'm in, and sometimes I just want different eyes. So these are not my real eyes. These books are in no particular order. They're kind of just how I grabbed them off the shelf. What I'm gonna do is with these 25 books that I have as non-negotiables, I'll kind of work them into my monthly TBRs as well. So you'll probably see these in future videos as well, just like sporadically thrown into my TBR on top of other books that I add. And these don't include any books that aren't out yet, like the books that are coming out next year. I did make a whole separate video, so watch that here when you're done with this video to see all of my most anticipated books coming out in 2025. This also doesn't include any books I don't own or books that are on my Kindle. So this is literally just my physical shelf. I'm trying to make it my mission in 2025 to read a lot more of my physical TBR. I have so many books on my shelf that I haven't read yet, and I just keep getting more. And I keep putting those on the back burner. So we are prioritizing my physical TBR in 2025. I'm also not going to yap too much about these books because we will be here literally all day. So I'm not going to give you like a full synopsis or anything like that. This video will end up being 2 hours long. Most of these are very popular books that you probably have already heard of and heard the synopsis 1,000 times. And if not, obviously there's always Goodreads and stuff like that. But we're going to just go ahead and jump right in with the first one I have, which is Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is part of the Chestnut Springs series. I'm addicted to this series and I'm just excited to read the next one. So I had to put this on my list, obviously. I heard that this one is really good and we've been getting little glimpses of Jasper in the previous ones. So I'm very like intrigued by him and definitely excited to read his story. This next one, I've probably had in multiple videos by now. I know for sure that this was in my winter TBR video and I didn't get to it because this book scares the living crap out of me. Like, I don't know why I'm so scared of this book. It seems so intense. Like, every time I see people reading this book, they're like taking notes and stuff, which, I mean, fair enough. I take a lot of notes when I read fantasy books too, but this one just seems so intense. And maybe it's not. Maybe that's just like the internet kind of hyping it up more. It is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. It's just so intense, I feel like. And it's not even the size. It's the fact that I heard the world is crazy. Like, the world building and everything. The glossary is pretty big, I believe. The glossary says age and time explained terms. Oh, wow. This is a big glossary. Creatures, beings, characters. Yeah, a pronunciation guide. Like, this is like a whole world. Well, okay, obviously fantasy books are like that, but I just heard the world building is really like intense in this. I'm gonna stop talking about this one. This is on my TBR for 2025. Then we have Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is part of the Addicted series. I actually want to read the entire series this year, but I don't know if I'll end up reading the full series. I'm really bad at continuing series back to back. Lately, I never used to be like that. But I do kind of want to start like a video series where I am going through and finishing all of the series I'm in the middle of. Maybe I will get further in this series. When I first read the first one, I had like mixed feelings about it. I didn't know if I liked it or not. But then the more I sat on it, I was like, okay, I do actually like this and I'm excited to keep reading it and see like how their story progresses while also reading the Calloway Sisters, I think is the name of the alternate series that kind of blends in like with this one, and you kind of like incorporate them in. Yeah, continuing with series, I do have The Queen of Nothing. This is the third book for The Cruel Prince. I'm addicted to this series and I'm surprised I haven't read this one yet, to be honest. I think just by the time I read the second one, we were starting to get into November and December and everything, and that's when I really wanted to start focusing on my Harry Potter reread, Bookmas, my holiday books, and just, I didn't have time for like any other stuff at that moment, so this is pretty high up on my list because I have to keep reading. I love this series, actually. I love Jude, I love Carden, and I just think this series doesn't get as much love as it should. I mean, it gets a lot of love, but it deserves more. Then we have Restore Me. I can't believe that I have not finished the Shatter Me series yet because I love the Shatter Me series. As I previously stated, 2025 will be the year of me continuing series I've started. Then we have The Summer of Broken Rules. I obviously want to read this one closer when we get into summer, but I did hear this one was really good, and I remember somebody saying that it kind of gives like season 1 of Outer Banks before it kind of like lost the plot, and I was like, that kind of sounds fun. I don't know how accurate that is, but I don't think I really have many like summer books. Then we have So Not Meant to Be by Megan Quinn. This is the second book for And Not So Meet Cute. I don't know what the actual like series name, oh, Kane Brothers. So this is the second book in the Kane Brothers, and I hope that this is as funny as the first one because the first one had me cackling at like 1 in the morning, just full on laughing, and my boyfriend probably thought I was insane. I really hope this one's as funny. This one is about, I think, JP. I think this is a like workplace romance. And I think Kelsey, is Kelsey the sister? I can't remember if Kelsey is a sister. See, this is why I need to stop waiting to read the books in series till later because I start forgetting like who the characters are. And like as I read it, I obviously get more into it. Okay, yeah, I think Kelsey's a sister. I was Googling it because I didn't want to sound stupid. Another book that scares the living crap out of me. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself in 2025. Oh my gosh. I think this one actually scares me way more than like When the Moon Hatched. When the Moon Hatched only scares me because of all like the different terminology and stuff, but I feel like the actual plot I'll be able to follow. But this one, first off, this is So Not Meant to Be, which is a thick romance book. Like, this is already big for a like romance book, and then we have, I'm sure you could already tell exactly what I was holding by the size, but this is a literal brick. I think I'm gonna have to get this on Kindle because I think I'm gonna break my wrist holding this. But I heard that it's so good. A lot of people say that this is like a 6-star fantasy read, and the crazy thing is like the page count is like, it's like 800 something pages. Like, I've definitely read books that were bigger than this, but because I read them on Kindle, it didn't feel that way. So I definitely think I am going to get this one on Kindle. But also, I don't know, because I would love to annotate this one, especially if it is like heavy with world building and stuff. I think this would be like a really cool one to annotate. So I don't know, like I can't imagine, like I don't even want to like open it further than this because I don't know it. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself this year. We might as well continue with the books that I'm absolutely terrified of reading that I for some reason decided to all put in the same TBR, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is another brick. Another one that I heard is absolutely amazing and insane and a crazy great world and everything. Again, I don't actually know what this one's about. I know that it's so bad. Sometimes I do buy books, I have no idea what they're about. I judge books by the cover a lot of the time, so I'll see a book and be like, oh my god, that's such a cool cover, and then get it, and I'm like, oh my god, what was that even about? Or if I just see a lot of people talk about it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, I get it because I'm like, well, obviously a lot of people love it, so I'm sure it's good. Or I'll see like a video that kind of sums it up quickly, like it's not the full synopsis, but it kind of like mentions little things that happen, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, but I don't know like the actual plot. Please tell me I'm not the only one who does that. Please tell me in the comments if like you guys do that too, because I know I'm not the only one who does that. I know that these are going to be good books, so I didn't care to read the synopsis before buying them because I know I'm gonna love them. Like, I love a good heavy fantasy book with crazy world building as long as I can fully like lock in. It's when I'm not able to focus, that's when I start having issues. Alright, next we do have Throttled by Lauren Asher. I actually bought this at like the beginning of 2024, maybe even the end of 2023 to be honest. I don't actually remember, but I have been wanting to, oh, I didn't know it was signed. That's funny. I probably did when I bought it. I knew it was signed when I bought it, but I guess I forgot. But I have been wanting to read this But when I got this one, I thought it would be fun to do like a reading Formula 1 romances for a week, kind of like the other like reading blah blah for a week videos that I do. And I wanted to get a couple more Formula 1 romances. So now I have like 3 or 4, and I will be doing a video with this one. So I've just been holding off on reading it because it was never the right time to read it. Like, other things just kept getting in the way. I know that's been my excuse for all of this, but my brain is just like constantly going like video ideas, or oh, I could do this week, or this is the perfect time to do a video like this, and then all of the other ideas I have planned, I just like push them back. Up next, I was so sure I was gonna read this one like the week it was released. I have no idea what happened. I don't know. I don't know why I haven't read this yet, because she's like an auto buy for me. I love her books. This is The Striker by Anna Huang, and I've been so curious about Asher since like the beginning of her books. I think it's like King of Wrath is when he was first mentioned. Maybe it was mentioned in the Twisted series. I don't remember, but he was pretty much mentioned in like almost every single book just randomly, I feel like. And you're like, who is this guy? So I'm so excited to finally have a book about him. And yet I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna say it. Other things just got in the way. I'm telling you, it's like this last half of the year, I was so focused on Halloween like videos, Halloween books. Then like November I did, like I said, the Harry Potter reread, and I was trying to do more like moody things like that. And then winter came, and I was like Christmas and holiday videos and Bookmas. So like the last couple months, I've just been putting everything on the back burner, and just... I'm gonna stop saying that because you guys, you get the point by now. This book I'm so excited for, and I am, at the end of the day, like a dark romance girly through and through. I love a fluffy romance. I love fantasy. I love every genre of book. I don't think there's a genre that I really truly don't like, but I always go back to dark romance as like a palate cleanser, or when I really just like need to get pulled out of a slump, or I'm like not in the mood for anything. My first go-to is a dark romance. And I don't know why, but this is Skin of a Sinner. I'm so excited to read this one. I think this cover, or like this edition, is so pretty. And the fan art of this, I think they're both beautiful. Like, they're the most beautiful people I've probably ever seen. I mentioned this in another video of mine, but it's just so funny I have to share it again. I put this book off for the longest time. One, I don't like the other cover, to be honest. I am petty like that. Like, if I don't like a cover, I like won't read a book. Not always, but I like put it off, which is so stupid. But every time I read the title, I would think of Twilight when Edward is saying that he's got this, like when he says that it's a skin of a killer. When he's like, it's a skin of a killer, Bella. I don't know. For some reason, that's always what I thought of. So I couldn't like take it seriously, but then I just started hearing more and more about how good it is, and then I saw this edition and I was like, wait, this is so pretty. So, oh shit, I bent it. Continuing with the whole dark romance category, I do have the Mindf series. I bought this one when they were doing a like reprint. They like changed the cover and everything, and I've always for some reason loved this original cover, so I ordered it on Amazon. I actually ordered it when it was showing the new cover, and I ended up getting this cover, so I was really happy about that. And that's kind of like what I was hoping would happen, which is why I ordered it in that moment, but I knew I wasn't going to read it in that moment. I've heard nothing but great things about this series, so she's definitely going to get read in 2025. We're getting closer, but not really. 25 books doesn't sound like a lot until I'm physically looking at 25 books in front of me, and I'm like, oh my god, I still have so much talking to do in this video. Up next, we do have Legendary. This is part of the Caraval series, and I kept putting this one off because I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. I don't think I like her sister Tella, and I know that's only because I've read the first book, which was about Scarlet, and Tella just kind of seemed like, I don't know, I just didn't like her. But this book follows her, and I guess a lot of people actually end up loving her more. So maybe I just have to finish the series, but I just kept putting it off for that reason. I don't even know what it was. I think I was just being petty. But I do love the world of Caraval. I think it's so like unique and whimsical, and like nothing like I've ever read. Like, I felt like I could imagine everything, like I was watching a movie while reading it, and I do love this world, so I'm very excited to dive back into it. I cannot believe, okay, this next one, I can't believe I haven't read it yet. I feel like I'm gonna get shamed for not reading it yet. And it is Throne of Glass. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. The only thing I have read is The Assassin's Blade, and I liked it. The thing is, I think Throne of Glass is going to be one of those series that I am going to want to read in, like, all in one, not, okay, oh my god, not all in one sitting, but like all at once, like back to back. I'm not going to want to read one and then take a break. Honestly, I just didn't have the time to fully commit to the full 8 books. Technically 7 since I read The Assassin's Blade, but I knew I was going to want to read them back to back. So I just kept putting it off, and I do plan on doing a like vlog while I'm reading it to kind of share my thoughts as I'm reading it. I really do hope I love it. I can't see that I'm not gonna like it. I'm a big ACOTAR girly, and Crescent City, the first Crescent City is probably like my favorite Sarah J Maas book so far. Stay tuned for this reading vlog. I feel like this whole video has just been me talking about future reading vlogs I'm doing, but I'm giving you guys some incentives to subscribe and stay, right? Hopefully somebody's hit the subscribe button by now. Going along with that whole thing, I do have the second Crescent City. Like I said, the first Crescent City is my favorite Sarah J Maas book. I heard the second one's really good too, and then I heard the third kind of falls off a little bit, but I'm also very like easy to please, so I might end up loving it. I did do the dramatized audiobook for the first Crescent City, and that might be why I loved it so much more than a lot of people who didn't like it, because the world, I will say, the world is very like confusing at first, because it's very like urban fantasy, like there's cell phones and all of this stuff, while there's also all of these fantasy aspects, and it gets a little like confusing with like the hierarchies and the creatures and everything. But once you learn all of it and once it all starts to click, it's such an amazing story. And I'm really excited actually to read this one. I'll probably do the dramatized audiobook for this one as well. But the way the first one ended, oh my gosh, I am so excited actually to read this one. Oh my god. I love Crescent City. I do. But I think I really like urban fantasy type books, because like I think back to one of the first books that really got me obsessed with reading in middle school or high school whenever it came out was the Mortal Instruments, like Shadowhunters series. I feel like those are very urban fantasy. Zodiac Academy I feel like has urban fantasy to it, and then obviously that, like I think I do really like the whole like real life coinciding with the fantasy world type books. Up next, another one that I can't believe I haven't read yet, and I know the reason why. It's just I wasn't ready to leave this family and world and everything behind. That is Taming 7. You guys already know how I feel about the Boys of Tommen. I'm just not ready to like leave them just yet, and I'm excited to read this one because I love Gibbsy. I do like Claire, but a lot of people say that this one also follows Lizzie a lot, so I'm very like curious about her. And 2025 is going to be the year that I finish out this series. Well, it's not like done. Obviously, there's going to be like more books, but I don't know when, so I don't know if this one is like as gut-wrenching, heartbreaking as the others, so I don't know. Up next, by Leigh Bardugo, we do have Hellbent. I really liked Ninth House, to be honest. I took my time reading it and like fully annotating it, and once, kind of like Crescent City, where once I started to understand it, like once it all clicked, I became obsessed with it. So I'm really excited to read this one because they like have to go to hell to save one of the characters, and oh my gosh, I think this one will definitely be better than the first one too, because the first one, a lot of it focused around Yale and like the secret societies and everything, and trying to like understand all of that. So I feel like this one's not going to be as like intense with trying to understand what all is going on, but who knows. This will definitely be another one that I heavily annotate to follow, because annotating just sometimes really helps me understand. I think it like helps me lock in more because I'm like reading slower and like marking things, so it helps me like physically focus more on what's going on in the book. Next, a book that is very highly anticipated, and I actually thought I was gonna read it last year, but every time I thought about reading it, I kept picking something else over it because I heard it's very like toxic. And I've been like in very toxic situation, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about like reading this, But I've also read other books that have very, very toxic like relationships and stuff like that, and it's fine. So that is Magnolia Parks. Everyone says that this is a Gossip Girl, but like in London. They say that's like the best way to describe it. And it's funny because like I loved Gossip Girl, but for some reason I just haven't had like the pull to read this as much as I thought I would. Like my main appeal to reading this is that all of the booktubers I love and people on Bookstagram and everything love this book, and that's like what's making me want to read it. But I think if nobody was like talking about this book, I don't know if I would have like the appeal to read it. It's funny because I'm saying all of this, but I probably am going to end up being obsessed with it, because I feel like most of the books that I go into not expecting to love them, I end up like becoming completely obsessed. Like Crescent City, I did not think I was going to care about because of the way people were talking about it. Like a lot of people were like, oh, you know, like it was fine, but it's not my favorite Sarah J Maas book. And I'm like, I want a tattoo for it. Like I'm obsessed with it. Up next, we do have Sharp Objects. I wanted to throw a like thriller in here. I think this is more like a psychological thriller, which I'm starting to like more and more, because most of these are fantasy and romance, and I wanted to make sure I read a couple like thrillers and stuff this year as well. And it's a shorter book, so if I feel like I need to reach for something on my yearly TBR that's shorter, more of like a palate cleanser style, this would be the perfect book. And it just sounded really good, and I don't know, I heard it's really good. This next one I am really excited about, because growing up, this was my favorite movie. I used to make my grandparents watch it with me like every week, or whenever I went to their house, I like forced my grandpa to watch it with me. Pretty sure I forced my mom to watch it with me. I forced anybody who would watch it with me to watch it with me, and I don't know why. I had such like a dinosaur fascination. I still do, let's be honest, but Jurassic Park, I heard the book is so much better than the movie. Well, obviously. But they say that like the book is so much more creepy and like gory and everything. Like, I guess obviously because it's more descriptive, but I'm a big Jurassic Park girly, Jurassic World, like all of them. Jurassic Park 3 is my favorite out of them all. This is so cool. I don't know why. I love when books have like things like this, like little diagrams and charts and stuff. I don't know why, but yeah. I'm hoping that this is going to be really good. I imagine that it is going to be. This is definitely a very highly anticipated one on my list. We have made it to the final 4 books that I have on my 2025 TBR. So first I do have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I've been wanting to read this. I heard good things about it. I heard V. Schwab is just a really great author. Somebody said that her books reminded them of like Tim Burton style like movies and stuff like that. I don't know. I've just been very intrigued by this book because this is one that I hear people either are obsessed with or didn't really like, and it sounds really good. It kind of reminds me of, what is that movie? The girl's name is like Adeline or something too. Blake Lively is in it. Please tell me you guys know what I'm talking about. Why can't I think of the name of it? Whatever the name of it is, for some reason, it kind of reminds me of that. Then we have A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. This is a Hades Persephone retelling. I love these like little spicy Greek mythology retellings. Like I love a good retelling that's like classic and very similar to, you know, the myths. But then I love ones like this where it's just, they're loosely using the terms and the names, and they're just, I don't know. I love them. I don't know why. I love Neon Gods. I love that whole series, to be honest. So, wow. This is another one that is a very, very highly anticipated fantasy book. Very, very popular on Book Talk and everything. And it looks like most of the books I'm going to be reading in 2025 are just all like very popular books. But that is Quicksilver. Again, can't believe I haven't read it yet. I just like order them because I'm so excited, and then when I physically pick them up, I'm like, oh, this is kind of big. Like, I'm not in the mood for this right now, and I just keep pushing it off. This is another one that I don't like actually know what it's about. I don't know what it's about like fully. I've just seen like fan art and edits and like small synopsises that like kind of briefly mention it, but I don't know like the actual plot. And like this is all that's on the back. So, and there's not like a synopsis on the inside, and I also just like haven't went and looked it up on Goodreads. I don't know why I'm like this. I do like going into books blind. I think that's what it is. Like, I love going into a book blind, and I think that's why sometimes I'm so bad at explaining what like the synopsis is about, because when I'm like reading the synopsis, I quickly read a couple sentences and then I'm like, okay, that's too much information. Like, I want to go into it blind for the most part. So I really just don't read synopsises unless I'm like halfway through the book and I'm like, I'm still not understanding what's going on. Then I'll go and like read synopsises and reviews and stuff. But I don't know, I like going into a book blind half the time. And the last book that I have for the 25 books that I for sure want to read in 2025 is Project Hail Mary. I've heard such good things about this. This is the author who also wrote The Martian, which I haven't read yet, but I have seen the movie a long time ago, and I just feel like the writing is going to be really, really good. I actually let my dad borrow this book, and my dad is very picky. Like, he does not like anything, and he really liked this book, so I'm like, I'll probably be obsessed with it if he liked it. It sounded really, really good, and I want to kind of get more into sci-fi, because a lot of like the sci-fi books I have are more like sci-fi fantasy, not necessarily like sci-fi. So definitely just want to get more to like some good sci-fi books. That is it. We have reached the end of the 25 books that I for sure want to read in 2025, and I expect you guys to hold me accountable. Hopefully at the end of 2025, all of these books will be read and then some. My goal for this year is probably going to be, I think I'm gonna do like 120. My goal for 2024 was 50, and I ended up reading, right now I'm at like, at the time of me filming, it's still 2024, and I'm at like 140, like 6 or something like that. So I went way over my goal, but I also read a bunch of like shorter, smaller books this year, and I feel like a lot of the books I picked for 2025 are some fat books, but I also want to like get a bunch of my series done, so I feel like 125 is like a safe goal for 2025. I'm not gonna like obsess over reaching it. To me, it's just like a cool number. If I get to it, cool. If I don't, that's fine. I don't think people should stress about like getting to a certain number. Even if you read one book a month, one book a year even, like you're still a reader, you're still reading. That's still amazing. I have no life. I literally, all I do is read for fun. I don't really watch movies as much or TV shows, and if I do, it's like every now and then. Like, my main hobby is reading, which is why I can consume so many books. I also work remotely from home, so like on my lunch break and everything, I have the option to just take a couple steps, sit in my chair and read. I also moved in 2024, so I don't have like any friends or anything in this area yet. So I've also just been like at home reading. So don't like compare your reading to my reading, because everybody's a reader. Even if you read one paragraph, you're a reader. So that is the end of this video. I do hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know if any of these are on your 2025 TBR as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button next to it. That way you are notified whenever I do post. Share with your friends, family, and follow me on all of my socials. That way you can see what I'm up to when I am not on YouTube. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!